Hey, it's Waka 120 here. Excuse me. I was just making this follow-up video to the one I made a few months ago. History and historical. Basically chronicling my departure from Protestant evangelical mainline Christianity. I had kind of reported I had fallen into a bit of I guess you could call it a state of agnosticism slash apostasy. And as reported later on that yeah, I've become a full blown agnostic atheist. And I told you why it happened because of the weak apologetics of people like Cy Ten Billion Kate and Ray Comfort and others, and some of things that happened with me, some investigation I did, and of course listening to the arguments of various atheists on YouTube. This video I'm going to do what I kind of uh, forgot to do earlier, and what I kind of did not have the technical expertise to do, is to put links to all of their pages. Sorry that kind of happened. But when you have your computer skills are pre-DOS, in case anybody watching that doesn't know what DOS is, you can ask your parents, or in some cases your grandparents, and you can basically see where my editing skills lie. Anyway, I'm going to include all the people that influenced me in the description below. Also going to include, if I can manage it, a video that I just saw today, which kind of put an exclamation point on why I haven't had any inclination to come back. Um, and I've wanted to. I've kind of felt isolated at times and cut off because, I'm not part of the Christian community anymore. I'm in Utah of all places, and I can't get to atheist meeting places because of my lack of transportation, although that's going to work itself out pretty soon. But even every time, well, okay, let me say this. Every time I even think about, pushing all of what I set aside and forgetting about all of the fallacies, um, the contradictions in the Bible, promotion of genocide, slavery, misogyny, and the fact that it's the Bible's wrong about virtually every historical scientific fact we know. I was willing to kind of push that all aside and just come back, but every time it happens, I see a video by an apologist who was just floundering around, and kind of reminds me why I left in the first place. Latest one I saw was about a former associate talking about Exodus and how the miraculous ways the Jews were delivered from being slaves in Egypt, which kind of sound pretty inspirational on the surface until you kind of dig deeper and realize that God took away Pharaoh's free will a few times when he wanted to let them go, which resulted in him wiping out the firstborn of Egypt, basically the entire generation, just to basically prove to the Egyptians and the Israelites that, he's God. And when I read this a long time ago, for whatever reason, I didn't think about that. I just brushed that. I just said, well, gee, that's bad, but that's God. That's just what happened. And it didn't. It struck me when I heard this again how incredibly naive, if not stupid, I was not to realize, wow, an entire generation gone. That's basically show that you could do it. Yeah. And then there's of course the wandering in the desert for 40 years when the trip could have taken a month. Then that there's no archaeological evidence that the Israelites, Jews, and that great of a number being in Egypt. Yeah, that kind of sealed the deal. So anyway, I was gonna go to a long rant, but because this video was taking so long to make, I had some technical difficulties. First, my laptop, then my phone, and my roommate kind of walked into the shot, so I had to change locations. But I guess you get the point. My fellow associates, are not, and I'm addressing this to not just to the apologists, but the average Christian out there. If you want people like me to come back, you're gonna either have to just admit that you're believing this solely on faith, or B, ask God to show up and intervene in our universe, in our plane of existence, in a way that is undeniable. Those two things don't happen, and I think me and all the other people are just going to be staying put. This is Wildcard 120, signing off.